Coming up on today's show, Mercedes says it will accept a liability on any crash involving Drive Pilot, its Level 3 autonomous driver assistance system. Global CO2 emissions set new records last year as we continue to broil the planet, and reports are in that the brand new Kia EV6 has a habit of making weird, high-pitched sounds. These stories and more coming next. Welcome back to TEN, or Transport Evolved News. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, hit the bell and the subscribe button, as well as making sure you've set your alert preferences on your mobile phone or browser, and hopefully you'll find out when our next videos go live. Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up today to support the electrification of transport and get the help you need to finance your own clean energy or EV future. Before I get going today, I know someone in the comments will ask, why aren't we featuring Tesla's Giga Berlin delivery ceremony that took place this week? Or in fact, the idiocy of some rented Tesla driver in LA last weekend. The answer? They were in our latest Tesla News Roundup show, so follow the link below to go and watch it when we're done here. For as long as the auto industry has been promising us autonomous vehicles, there's been some question around who is responsible for the car if it's in an accident while driving itself. Is it the car or the driver? So far, the industry has opted for the latter. In 2016, Volvo had said that it would indemnify drivers from accident blame if its system was driving, even though at the time its systems weren't ready for prime time. And I managed to get Elon Musk very upset by asking him the same question of Tesla Autopilot. But this week, Mercedes-Benz became the first automaker to bring a commitment to autonomous liability to market, stating that if any of its vehicles cause an accident while its Level 3 compliant Drive Pilot system is actually driving your car, it will assume liability. There are some caveats and considerations here, but this is massive news, and to show just how massive, we're going to be doing a video on it next week. So watch this space. It's been 3 years since we first saw the Tesla Cybertruck break cover for the first time at a heavily cyberpunk-themed event in LA. While Tesla's original timeline for Cybertruck has slipped not once but twice, going from promising deliveries would start in 2021 to 2022 and now 2023, it continues to have a loyal fan base of eager reservation holders happy to wait as long as it takes to get behind the wheel, or yoke. This week at Giga Berlin, during the first deliveries of German-made Model Ys, Elon Musk was asked by an employee about the company's short-term goals. He stated, in addition to ramping up production of existing vehicles, that, quote, "We want to complete the development of Cybertruck this year and be ready for production next," end quote. Of course, we are talking about Elon's time here, and Tesla has lost some Cybertruck customers due to the slew of new electric pickups from other brands coming to market. But if you're still holding out, the wait may soon be over. Ever since its launch, the Mini has been a car many have wanted to electrify. Have a look on YouTube to see an electric Mini made by Morris Motors in the 60s for proof of that. Sure, the original and best Mini may be a tad on the small side, but these days there are a plethora of different aftermarket kits you can get to electrify your little go-kart. And of course, the car's spiritual namesake, the BMW Mini, also has a history of electrification. Aside from the original limited production Mini E from 2009, you've been able to buy the Mini Cooper SE for a number of years, but its diminutive size and shared platform have meant its specs have been a bit meh, even though it drives just great. This week, BMW teased footage of the next generation all-electric Mini, the Mini 3-door, undergoing winter testing in Sweden. Shorter than the current Cooper SE, it has a longer wheelbase and much more interior room because it's a ground-up EV, and it promises a far longer range. So watch this space. In a week and a half's time, Tesla is planning to hold a 15,000-person celebration party at its Gigafactory in Austin, Texas. Expected to be similar to the country fair held at Giga Berlin last year, tickets are highly sought after. As is the case with any large event like this, permission was required, and local officials in Travis County have received both letters of support and letters of complaint about it. Many news outlets are reporting the objections of one individual in particular, Paul DiFiore, a representative of the Colorado River Conservancy and local environmental justice group PODER. Giving reporters a laundry list of concerns, he said the county should not grant permission until Tesla, quote, start treating the community in eastern Travis County as more than a workforce for Elon Musk, but rather as neighbours and partners, end quote. It feels as if the objections go beyond the scope of the permit to hold an event, and it seems that the county agreed because it's given Tesla the green light. True to its word, Volkswagen has begun programming electric cars at its various factories with the latest and greatest version of its operating system, and says existing customers will get the same via an over-the-air software update very soon. Along with some general software bug fixes, ID Software 3.0 brings a whole slew of new features to ID3, ID4, ID5 and ID6 cars. Cars with the largest ID battery pack can now charge at 135 kilowatts from a compatible DC quick charge station, and the revised in-car navigation system now includes a smart e-route planner. A new functionality, Park Plus Assist with memory function, means that ID family cars can now learn and repeat 5 different parking maneuvers to automatically park themselves. But perhaps most importantly, ID cars now have an improvement to Volkswagen's Travel Assist, meaning the car can change lanes for you, like a Tesla. As the illegal invasion of Ukraine by Russia reaches 1 month long, gas prices, while a little recovered from 2 weeks ago, are still higher than they were before the war began. While these price increases have little to do with actual gas production and a lot to do with oil company profits, that means more people than ever before are looking at getting behind the wheel of an EV. But for those who still need a little help, a new report by US advocacy and lobbying group ZETA could help make that decision-making process. The organisation, which represents the interests of zero-emission vehicle companies and startups, has compared the cost of owning an electric vehicle to the cost of owning an internal combustion engine vehicle across the US. It's concluded that as of March 2022, EVs are 3 to 5 times cheaper to drive per mile than gasoline cars. In Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Nevada, North Carolina, Tennessee and Virginia, it says some EVs are even 6 times cheaper to drive. As Nissan readies its Ariya crossover for a market launch in North America and Europe, it's announced it will focus on electric and electrified models in Europe from next year. The reason is the introduction of Euro 7 emission standards for passenger cars, which the company has said it's decided not to invest any money in trying to meet. Instead, from next year, it said it will no longer introduce any brand new internal combustion engine models in Europe, but it will continue to sell models already launched. Instead, all new models will either feature hybrid, mild hybrid or plug-in technology. By 2026, Nissan says 75% of its European sales will be electrified, with a 100% electrified mix by the end of the decade. I should remind you, though, that electrified doesn't mean every car sold will be tailpipe free, which is frankly what we should all be trying to achieve. The International Energy Agency has released its official report into global carbon emissions for 2021, and it's not good news. Unlike 2020, when COVID-19 caused an almost 2 gigaton drop in carbon dioxide emissions from the year before, the largest drop in emissions in recent history, we humans just couldn't help ourselves and promptly undid all of that good last year. According to the IEA, CO2 emissions last year rose to 180 megatons above pre-pandemic levels of 2019. Worse still, while oil demand for transport remained 8% below pre-pandemic levels, a sign we're burning less dino juice, 40% of the overall growth in CO2 came from coal emissions. We've got some work to do, as one half of the increase in electricity demand last year was met by coal-fired power stations. And that's not good. Bringing any new car to market requires a lot of money to be spent on design and engineering, as well as extensive research and development into new technologies that vehicle uses. But when that vehicle is ready to go to market, most automakers also spend an inordinate amount of money on advertising said car. Now, a new report from Statista has collected the respective R&D and advertising budgets for respective car brands and has shown that of the largest automakers out there, Tesla's R&D budget eclipses the competition. Comparing the money spent in 2020 by Chrysler, GM, Toyota, Ford and Tesla, it shows that Tesla, which famously doesn't spend money on advertising, ploughed $2,984 into R&D for every car it sold. Meanwhile, Ford came in second place, spending $1,186 on R&D and $468 on advertising. Given this data is 2 years old, however, which is why it's Chrysler, not Stellantis, I'd love to see how that's changed as Ford, GM and others have made massive commitments to EV spending. And I'd also love to know where Volkswagen fits in, as it's not on the list. It's also worth bearing in mind that legacy automakers are called that for a reason and have a big back catalogue of research to draw from. Contemporary Amperex Technology Company Limited, or as it's known in these parts, CATL, hey, I did grow up on a dairy farm, is the world's largest electric vehicle battery manufacturer. And while other battery companies have made some steps towards making batteries in a carbon neutral way, CATL hasn't to date, but it's now made that commitment, opening up its first zero-carbon battery plant in Yabin, Sichuan, China. According to the press release published on Friday, 80% of the factory's electricity needs are met by a local hydroelectric facility fed by 3 local rivers, with the rest coming from other renewable sources. In addition to being carbon zero, the facility also boasts that it recycles all of the waste produced during manufacturing of battery cells, with a recovery rate of nickel, cobalt and manganese of 93.3%. Coming up next, short shorts. But first, this quick message. While TE does have other income streams like third-party production work, the overwhelming majority comes from folks just like you. We have a team of 3 full-time and 2 part-time staff, and to make sure everyone gets paid, we'd love to increase our Patreon and YouTube membership. So if you can, stick around to the end and I'll tell you more. On to the short shorts. Nio has officially built the first batch of series-produced ET7 electric sedans at its Hefei facility in China. The ET7 is due to begin deliveries just a few days to early reservation holders, but for now, only the smaller 100 kWh variant is available. Shipping specialists Maersk have partnered with EinRide to transform land-based haulage. The partnership will see EinRide add 300 connected trucks to Maersk's fleet to help lower landslide emissions of its freight logistics operations. Electrify America has unveiled its latest electric vehicle charging station design. It's sleeker and more stylish than its predecessors, and it has a better screen, better cable management, and in many locations, a solar canopy and maybe other amenities. French-Canadian firm Taiga has begun official delivery of its first all-electric snowmobiles. The first model of the 3 to be delivered is the Nomad Utility Snowmobile, which offers an estimated range of 60 miles, 100 kilometres, and a 67-kilowatt motor. Suzuki has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Indian state of Gujarat to invest in the production of electric vehicles and electric vehicle battery packs. If everything goes according to plan, a total of $1.24 billion will be spent there. Audi isn't the first company to come to mind when it comes to electric pickup trucks, but according to one report from Autocar, Audi is considering an MEB-based pickup that is similar in size to the Ford Ranger. That said, Autocar is known for publishing any rumour with a pulse, so Honda has announced an expansion of its planned EV lineup for Europe and says it will be bringing an all-electric subcompact SUV to European buyers next year. The car in question, the eNY1 prototype, a vehicle that's basically an EV version of its HR-V. LG Energy has announced its intent to build a brand new battery facility in Queen Creek, Arizona, where it will build cylindrical battery cells. This will be the first time LG Energy cylindrical battery cells are built in the US, and it will cost approximately $1.4 billion. A few months after buying thousands of Tesla Model 3 EVs for its rental fleet, Hertz has just announced it will be buying thousands of Tesla Model Ys too. We recently rented a Model 3 through Hertz, and there's a video talking about our experiences very soon. Lucid Motors has confirmed that its Dream Drive Pro driver assistance system is powered by the NVIDIA Drive software platform. NVIDIA's special autonomous driving hardware is not only powerful, but it will gain new functionality throughout its life via over-the-air updates. A Maserati has just unveiled its new Grecale SUV. While it will launch with a 4-cylinder mild hybrid drivetrain or a high-performance gas-guzzling V6, it will be available next year with a fully electric drivetrain. We're not sure about that front grille, but we'd like to try the EV out. After pausing production at its various EV factories due to the war in Ukraine, Volkswagen has announced that it's about to resume production at its factories ahead of schedule. Volkswagen says its electric cars should begin rolling off the line early next week. Chevrolet has dropped another teaser video for its upcoming Equinox EV. Clearly CGI, the video shows the flush door handles, full-width tail light and full-width daytime running lights, which seem to be becoming a must-have for most new EVs coming to market. As promised, Cadillac has begun series production of its Lyriq crossover. The start of production was marked with a special event at its Spring Hill facility in Tennessee. After initial orders have been met, order books will reopen in May for new customers. Volocopter has conducted the first crewed flight of its eVTOL electric aircraft in France this week. It used its 2X prototype to perform the tests at the Pintoise airfield in Paris, which was specifically designed to test air pollution caused by the aircraft. Honda has cut the ribbon on a brand new state-of-the-art wind tunnel facility in East Liberty, Ohio, where it will refine the designs of future production vehicles. Its goal is to use the facility to help make future electric vehicles as efficient and as quiet as possible. Warren, Michigan is about to become home to a brand new graphite processing facility. A joint venture between Emerald Energy Solutions and Graphex Technologies, the facility will produce battery-grade graphite and graphene for use in electric vehicle battery packs. LG Energy has announced an expansion to its Holland, Michigan EV battery production facility. The expansion, worth $1.7 billion, will add 1,200 new jobs and will help the company expand its battery cell capabilities as EV battery demand soars. XPeng has just celebrated producing the 100,000th example of its P7 electric car, just 2 years after it began production. To celebrate, the Chinese car company is producing a special black label edition of the P7, but pricing for the same hasn't yet been announced. Stellantis and LG Energy Solutions have announced what will be Canada's first large-scale EV battery manufacturing facility. Located next to Stellantis' existing production lines in Windsor, Ontario, it will produce 45 gigawatt-hours of battery cells per year. After the first German-made Tesla Model Ys were delivered to customers at Giga Berlin this week, Elon Musk confirmed the new paint facility there will offer 2 new paint choices, a 13-layer red and a silver made of 8 layers of paint. Antelope Valley Transit Authority in California has become the very first transit agency in the whole of North America to operate a fully electric fleet. While small in its size, the AVTA now operates 20 electric commuter coaches, 10 electric passenger vans, and 57 electric buses. As it slowly comes around to the idea of making electric cars, Toyota has released a video guide helpfully showing people how to charge an electric car. While it's nice to see Toyota try to educate customers, the video would have been more helpful a decade ago. At the Giga Berlin event earlier this week, during a speech with employees, Elon Musk dropped hints that the company is looking to add more manganese in its batteries, or maybe to start building manganese-based cells. While some news sites are excited about this, I should point out that Musk didn't explicitly promise that manganese cells would actually happen. Indian mobility company Ola has just made a strategic investment in Israeli battery startup StoreDot, with a view to using StoreDot's rapid charging technology to bring rapid charging scooter batteries to market. StoreDot says it will reach a 2-minute for 100-mile charge rate by the end of the decade. KWV3 adjustable suspension is now available for the Cupra Born EV, and the company behind it says it believes the adjustable suspension will actually improve the range of the Cupra Born when fitted. On a Tesla Model 3, the company said it increased range by 7%. Hyundai has quietly changed the onboard tech for its current model year Ioniq 5 in Europe. Cars now rolling off the production line lose crossing functionality of the forward collision assist and level 2 highway drive assist. It goes back to 1.5, but prices remain the same. BYD and Shell have partnered up to expand energy and charging solutions across both Europe and China. In addition to building out a new charging network for customers, the partnership will see BYD build EV service centres in key European markets. Volkswagen has announced its intent to boost its electric vehicle production lineup and R&D spend in North America. It's invested an additional $7.1 billion in its North American facilities, with a goal of having 55% electric vehicle sales by 2030. Following a protracted battle about the future of the US Postal Service delivery fleet with both Capitol Hill and the White House, the USPS has doubled its order of electric vehicles that it will buy from Oshkosh Defense. However, the majority of vehicles will still be gas guzzlers. Can-Am has announced its intent to return to its roots and bring new on- and off-road motorcycles to market in 2024. This time they'll be fully electric models, and based on the photos we've seen, they will be naked rather than fully fared bikes. And those are your shorts. There will be more to blat through next week. As we disclosed in last week's show, Ford's official EPA ratings for the F150 Lightning are out, and this week Ford confirmed the leaks with an official press release, as well as a video of the F150 Lightning towing 10,000 pounds during its pre-production final validation. And while it's great to know that the F150 Lightning appears to have met and in some cases exceeded its EPA rating guesses, and in some cases exceeded its EPA predictions, there's some confusion as to about what circumstances those tests were carried out in. You see, Ford's original range predictions were with 1,000 US pounds of weight in the truck's bed, but EPA ratings are always given with no additional weight, and yes, I did reach out to Ford to check. This either means that Ford didn't meet its EPA ratings, or more likely, that it's doing what it did with the Mustang Mach-E and purposely underrating the truck for EPA purposes. Ford hasn't detailed which it is, but I, and I'm sure many of you, are hopeful it's the latter, not the former. If we do find out, we'll share. And finally, the noises from an EV are very different from your average internal combustion engined car. Instead of the roar of a V8 or the burble of a small four-cylinder, you're usually met with the sweet, sweet silence of electric propulsion, punctuated by the occasional whine as you accelerate or brake. But while I, and many of you, love EV noises, there's one thing that's being talked about that may not be quite so pleasant, namely the noise that's emanating from the Kia EV6. According to several reports, there's a strange high-frequency sound that's only audible when performing certain maneuvers at low speed. Reports from Korea suggest it happens when the car has been driven at higher speeds and then slows down. So far, Kia hasn't officially acknowledged the problem, but as it happens, we have an EV6 Sportline on loan this week for us to review, so we'll be keeping our ears peeled as we drive. And on that note, we're done for the day. But before I go, a huge thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring today's show. They have been advocating for electric vehicles since 1967 and firmly believe that our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green electric cars today. The EVA can help you find someone near to you that can help you make the switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. And if you become a member, you'll gain access to a new clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EVA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. You can find out more by heading to electricauto.org. Don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell for this channel and our second channel, Transport Evolved Take 2. And if you're not already a channel member or Patreon supporter, please consider becoming one. Or you can send us a tip through Ko-fi, Bitcoin, or in fact, our cool swag store. If you missed our Friday live stream, you'll maybe have missed us saying that it is with a heavy heart that we've announced we're not going to be at Fully Charged Live in the UK next month. We did have tickets and we had plans to go, but the absolute surge in cases there made it irresponsible given the medical needs of our team. So we hope to be at Fully Charged Live in September in San Diego, so keep your ears and your eyes peeled for more info as we have it. I'll be back soon with more awesome content, as will the rest of the team, but until then, enjoy your weekend and as always, keep evolving.